Hey, well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Dave coming to you from the fire pit in my backyard here in Southern Maryland. Let's see, it's about 5:30 on Saturday afternoon. Just another one of those picture perfect Maryland days. Too nice for this time of year, but we'll take it. It's about 65, slight breeze. The breeze is making my fire fickle about which way it wants to blow the ashes and the smoke. I already moved once. I'm not going to move again. So we're just going to have to say, move over there, fire. Had a good day. I was kind of in the paddock all day. Really boring subject. So boring subject warning. We got those two chest freezers. And I told you the other day, we got a side of beef coming in next week. So I want to get both freezers defrosted and totally clean, and got one completely done. Got everything consolidated into it, and the second one is defrosting right now. So it was good. A lot of work, but we got it done today. It felt good. Yeah, I did the thank you vid to Van Hatcher. I did my scare vid when I put the car on the wall. Well, I'll tell you that story here in a couple minutes, part of this video. Now I'm home. Everything's done. House is in good shape. All my weekly chores are done. Grocery shopping's done. Laundry's done. And just ready to chill out with you guys. So tonight, I went back to the Davidoff, the Churchill late hour. I had a box of these come in. So you might hear these more and more. These are currently my current favorite, I think. Horribly expensive. I think I told you that on a prior vid. But to me, they're worth it. To a lot of people, they might not be. Anyway, Churchill late hour by Davidoff is what we're smoking tonight. Hey, and I finally remember my cigar tool. Sometimes I like to smoke the nubby. So I got a little nubby holder. It's not a roach clip. It's got two little spikes in it. And this cigar was so good last time, I wished I'd had my nubby smoker with me. So there we go. All right, let's get this Davidoff lit up. It's kind of breezy out. We'll see, but remember, be gentle. Problem is with the breeze, I gotta get the foot closer. Yeah, the wind's playing havoc with me here. Just a quiet, boring moment on the video while you watch me toast the foot of my cigar. You probably can't see it from there, but I'm a good 2 inches from the cigar, even with the breeze blowing. And it's toasting it nicely. Oh, that's good. Gosh. You know it's going to be good when first draw is good. Oh, that's going to be good today, guys. So I want to give you an update on the Esterval situation. A couple of you said you've been getting pinched by your Esterval's orders. They were getting held up by customs. And I can tell you that I've received 2 Esterval's orders yesterday, and I didn't get pinched. I didn't get stopped. I had no issue. So Esterval's is running like, I think it's like 12 orders, 12-0 on issues. But I wanted to do a couple. Sorry, guys, brief intermission while my dog Chance celebrates his 450th success over the Amazon driver. Truck's driving away now. Anyway, we're talking about Esteval's orders. So I had 2 come in yesterday. I did a 40-10 order to replace what I'm putting into badge boxes, and it flew through no problem. And a couple days later, I did a 20-10 order, and they arrived on the same day. So I've done a 40-10 and a 20-10, and both came in yesterday. No issues, none at all. So I don't know why some of you are having issues when you order from them. I don't know why some of you are getting held for, I guess, for import, for customs. I just don't know. I don't know. I tell you the tin count so you know the size of my orders. I don't know. I've done as many as like 50 tins in one order before, but I don't do large orders. I don't do 100 tins, 200 tins. I do figure that might even cause Esterval's to. I've heard Esterval's will stop your order if it's too big. So anyway, that's where I am. 2 orders, both got here yesterday. 20 tins, 40 tins. That's my story. I have no idea why yours, if it's in the same size, is getting held up. So I might as well tell the story of Road Atlanta since I put it up as my scare vid today as a response VR to Uncle Willie. So I was racing with McLaren for 3 seasons, and last year, well, it's been a year and a half, so the year before, it was about June-ish, mid-season. We were at Road Atlanta, so we go all over. We run at COTA, Circuit of Americas. It's the F1 track there in Austin. And then we run a couple of tracks in California. We run Road America up in Michigan. And then Road Atlanta and Homestead. And we were in Road Atlanta. It was mid-season. And I'm close to being one of the oldest guys on the track. And I kind of sucked. I was last, second to last, third to last. I mean, I never podiumed. And it was me, racing was me doing what I, do what I say. Practicing my own words. I was having the courage to do something I kind of sucked at. And racing, I kind of sucked at. But I was getting more aggressive and trusting the car. And car was dialed in. My support crew was fantastic. And so I was getting more aggressive and more aggressive. And we were getting towards the end of the race. And I just continue to get more aggressive throughout the day. And turn 12 at Road Atlanta is a famous turn. It's called a shallow turn. So you can, as soon as you get the car turn towards the apex, it's called rotation. Once you rotate the car and it's pointed at the apex of the corner, you're supposed to go full throttle. I mean, all the way to the floor and come up. You're not supposed to shift down below third gear and then shift from third to fourth as you pass the apex. And if you guys know anything about racing, there's that red and white striped curbing to mark your corner edges. And there's an absolute rule at Road Atlanta, turn 12, do not touch the curbing on the left. And it's really tempting because you touch a lot of curbs, because you can actually straighten the corner out by going too far outside, turning in, and then ending up too far inside on the exit of the corner, and you actually take a corner and flatten it. And so almost every other corner in racing, you want to get up on the curbing or at least touch it. But this one you do not. And I did. I had a flawless execution. We were down the hill, into the corner, pointed at the apex, perfect rotation, full throttle, pop into fourth, and my left rear tire just brushed the curbing. And that brushing of the curbing upset the bounce of the car just enough to pitch. You would think it would pitch the rear of the car right, and you'd have to correct left, but it doesn't. For some reason, you got enough momentum sliding left into the corner that it accentuates that. And my car over-rotated. And instead of pointing down the straightaway towards turn 1, I over-rotated, and I was now faced across the track. And in a lot of turns and in a lot of tracks, that is not a big deal. You just get off track, call it your off-road experience. There's actually a term for it. And if there's no damage to the car, you can turn back on, make sure there's no one coming, get back on the track, run the mud out of your tires, and continue the race. Well, not turn 12 at Road Atlanta. When you get when you get over rotated, you're actually pointed right at a Jersey wall. It's probably only maybe 15 feet, maybe not even 15 feet off the track, the inside of the corner. And you're pointed directly at it. I mean, perpendicular pointed at it. And you're doing at least 110, maybe more. Your tires catch, and instead of hurtling down the first straightaway, you are hurtling up over the curb of the inside of the corner and directly at the Jersey wall. And at 110 or 120 miles an hour, you close that 15 feet in a tenth of a second. I mean, long enough for you to think this is going to hurt. And then you hit it. And it's just such a surreal experience. Now, race cars today are designed for this. On the front is basically a crumple zone. If you saw the pictures I posted, you could tell the front of the car was gone. I gave you a before picture and a bunch of the disassembly pictures. And then the final, when they had the car completely as good as they could get it on the track. You know, my guys are really good. And you can see the difference. You can see that the front of the car is gone because it did its job. And I'm in a 6-point harness, and I'm wearing a full helmet and full fire suit and Hans device and all that. And all that kicked in. So basically I was just sitting there with the front of my car, having gone up over the windscreen and over the top of the car, and was laying on the track with me sitting there, and the car was so damaged it shut down completely, no power or anything. So my earbuds, my radio wasn't working, and my crew's yelling at the car, you know, yelling into their mic, Dave, if you're conscious, just click your button, because there's a button you click to talk to outside the car. But I couldn't hear them. I was sitting in the car pretty much perfectly fine, but I was all crumpled in. I couldn't move, and the car was dead, so I couldn't talk to anybody either. So everybody was freaking out. And one of the worst parts is when you wreck at turn 12, all this shit goes up over your car and lands on the racetrack. So they have to red flag. It's called red flag the race. And they make everybody get off to the right or left side of the track, and everyone has to exit the track, and the race is essentially over. And boy, does that suck for all the other drivers. So I'm sitting there, a couple feet off the track. I've bounced off the wall. All my front of my car is all spread all over the track. It's dripping gas and draining, and never caught fire, so no part of that story. But you know, basically I couldn't move. And so you got to wait, and the emergency crew rolls up, the ambulance crew rolls up, and they start, you know, cutting the door open. And I was fine. So once the rescue lady, she got in there and got my belts unhooked, and I was starting to get out of the car because I thought I was going to get up and head back to the pit. I was wrong. She's like, what the hell are you doing? So I was going to get out of my car. She goes, you're not going anywhere. I got to check your neck and your head and all that. You can't even move right now. And then she started asking me questions to see if I was in a concussion state or if I was truly awake. And she said, where are you? And I said, well, I'm on a racetrack. And she goes, you're going to have to do better than that. So I thought about it for a minute, and it did take me a while to remember that I said, well, I'm at Road Atlanta, right? She goes, yes. And, you know, what day of the week is it? What state are you from? Where do you live? What's your name? What's your last name? And she seemed skeptical. And then she said, who's the president? I said, sorry for this. I said, that fucking Joe Biden. And she stood up and goes, he's fine. And they actually let me get up out of the car and walk myself to the ambulance. And I had to get in the ambulance, and I had to go to the medical center. And then they started doing an equipment check. They wanted to see if the helmet needed to be confiscated or if the Hans device straps had stretched. So they did all that, and then they did a full physical on me, and I don't know, an hour and a half later or so, they released me. And I ended up making sure everything was good, watched, you know, made sure everyone was safe who was behind me in the race. Ended up driving to the airport, turning my rail car in, and flying home that night. So ended pretty well. So second part of the story was my race team is driven all over the U.S. by the same guy. He drives the semi. There's 3 guys on the race team that we run, and they get all 3 cars, in the semi, and all the gear and all the tires and all that. Because you go through about 4 or 5 sets of tires. So all this gets loaded in the rig, and the rig is stationed basically just north of Fort Worth, Texas, Crescent, Texas, and he drives where we are for the race. So he'll leave a couple days ahead of it, and then he drives Sunday night and Monday to get back. But for some reason, at Road Atlanta on this weekend, his wife came and rode in the truck with him, and she was standing and talking to me before the race because it's a 4-day event, and this was the last day. This was Sunday, and she said, "Hey, I've been watching you for 3 days. How come your wife, doesn't your wife ever come?" And I said, "Nope, my wife. You'll never see my wife at a racetrack. It just will never happen. She doesn't want to watch." She goes, "Well, that's kind of crazy." I said, "It's just her. She don't want to see anything if it goes bad." Well, after the wreck, when we were standing in the pit, she came back up to me and said, "I now know why your wife will never come to a race. In fact, I'm not sure I'm ever coming to another race because I've never seen anything so horrible in my life, and I've never been so scared in my life." So I just thought that was an interesting side story. Anyway, it took a while. It took us about 5 or 6 weeks to rebuild the car because a lot of the parts had to come because of McLaren. So a lot of the parts had to come from England, and so we missed 2 races, but we ended up finishing the race season, and I've kind of hung it up since the end of the race. Since that end of that season, I didn't race last season, and I'm not currently registered to race this year. I kind of felt the wreck was maybe God touching me on the shoulder and saying, "It's time to find another hobby." So that's enough about car stuff today. I'll tell you a story about being a local elected official. So I told you guys I was elected in 1998, and I served 2 terms, 1998, and I got reelected in 2002 as one of the Calvert County commissioners. And then the board, there's 5 of us, and the board elects their president. You act sort of as the county executive. We have a county administrator who's full-time, and then the president of the board. The 2 of them kind of function as the executives. And I served 6 of my 8 years as president of the board, so essentially was the county executive. And I just thought I would tell you a couple stories as these fireside chats go by. But I'll tell you one today about what is it like. So from the outside, we look into the elected office, and all we really see is the campaign, just all that crap, the road signs and the print ads and the email ads and the phone calls. But I want to talk to you today about what is it like to serve? What's it like to sit in the seat? And so I'm going to tell you one story today, and I'll tell you others later. So I chose to leave my back in '98. Phone books were still a thing, and I chose to leave my home number listed in the phone book and on the online phone book. And one Friday evening, maybe around 5 or 6 o'clock on a Friday night, got a phone call on my home phone line, which we don't even have anymore. And there was a woman on there kind of crying, screaming. I mean, I couldn't understand her, and she was clearly in trauma. And I said, "Ma'am, I can't hear you. You called the right number. You got the Commissioner Hale on the phone, but I can't understand you. I need you to calm down." And over the course of the next 10 or 15 minutes, she was calmed down enough to tell me what was going on. Turns out she was a a fifth grade teacher in one of my elementary schools. And she had a tradition on Friday afternoon as the kids were leaving the classroom for the weekend. They'd all walk by her desk and she'd say, "Have a good weekend. See you on Monday." Seems pretty normal. Pretty much all the kids filed out saying, "Yep, see you Monday, see you Monday, see you Monday." And one of her kids said, "I don't think I'll be here. I probably won't see you on Monday." And she went on, have a good weekend, have a good weekend. And it wasn't until she got home that night after all the kids had left and school was closed. She got home and kind of realized this little boy had said, "I don't think I'm going to be here. I probably won't see you on Monday." And she realized that something bad was either going to happen to him or he was going to do something to himself. And she was freaking out. And luckily, being the elected guy, the chief elected guy, I had the personal cell phones of the sheriff, the superintendent of schools, and the barracks commander for the Maryland State Police down here in Prince Frederick, Maryland. Barracks U is what it's called. And so I called all three cell phone numbers. I told the lady, I said, "Hey, do me a favor, just stay at home. Don't make any phone calls. Stay off the phone. I'm gonna get an action plan in place, but I got to figure out what that is." And so just stay home, stay calm, don't go anywhere, and stay off the phone. And I called all three of my, the leaders, the superintendent of schools, state police, sheriff's department, or sheriff. And I said, "Hey guys, I don't know how real this is, but I got a really upset teacher calling me at home, and she thinks something's going to happen to this kid." So they actually decided that maybe interdiction, some sort of interceding was required. So they put a team of a local sheriff, a state patrol, and the teacher, and they went to this. They called her and they got the kid's name and they looked up the address, and they went to this kid's home maybe like 7 or 7:30 Friday evening. No prior issues with this family. And when they got to the house and they got inside the house and we started interviewing the mom, and they pulled the kid aside, had been a very abusive childhood, and the kid had decided that he'd had enough and he was going to kill himself over the weekend. And we were able to pull that kid out of that house and get him into a safe house that night and save this kid's life. So it wasn't me saving the kid, right? The teacher made the first call, and all I did was marshal the resources to make something happen. But that's what it's like. Your phone call can make a difference. You can change a life, and you can save a life. And that incident, and we had several of them, and I'll tell you more stories, but that made it all worth it. All the campaign, that year-long campaign, and all the bullshit of the dealing with all the politics on a day-to-day basis, those kind of days, made it worth it. All right, guys, my cigar's half over. Let's not make this an hour-long video tonight. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of this hour on my own. I wish you a great evening tonight, Saturday evening, Saturday night. Hopefully you're having a great weekend. I'll end this one as I do all my fireside chats. May God bless you and all those around you. May you have a great life. May God bless you as well as He is blessed and is blessing my life. May God turn His ears to hear your prayer. And may God make His face shine upon you. And that is it, guys. Have a great Saturday night. We'll talk again tomorrow on Sunday. Bye, everybody.